Hello guys, today is Tuesday and here is the third video, the second of this series about HTML and in particular about HTML5. So here I decided to describe briefly the most important tags that we encounter. There are many others that you can check, but basically it's up to you to decide which are the ones that you need according to your specific case. And this is because HTML5 adds more semantics to the code because we can see that in the previous version like XHTML basically we kept on using divs for every particular need, and this changed in HTML5 where the guys that published this standard decided to add more semantics to the code to make it more meaningful and also for the humans that read the code, and also for the search engines to scrape better the content that is in the website. So here we see doctype HTML is the tag that we find, it's a declaration that we find in the very beginning of our HTML document, and this tells the browser that it's parsing a HTML5 file. In contrast to XHTML, HTML5 is not a standard generalized markup language anymore, and therefore it does not need anymore a DTD, which means document type definition. So basically the document type definition was like a grammar that told the browser what was the next element or the next property attached to a tag that it had to expect, so to speak. So let's go on. So the first tag that represents the first element in our HTML file is the HTML tag. The HTML tag can have attached a property which is the length property. The length property can have different values which represent the language of the document that we find in the document. And in this example, we have English as the language that will be expected as the language in the document. This tag basically is also used by the scrapers like Google's scraper in order to determine which is the language in the document. So when you search in Google some documents about a specific topic, a given topic, a topic of your choice in English, that lang en will tell Google that the document is in English, and this can be useful in order to index better your page. So we have the head tag, we have the head opening and head closure tags that contain a set of elements for the browser to interpret our document the way we want it, for the search engines and the social media scrapers to find the information that they need for our advertising and sharing purposes. Don't worry if you don't understand it right now. You will understand it in a few whiles. These head tags contain some other elements, basically some other tags which are for example, the meta tags like charset. A charset is a defined list of characters recognized by the computer hardware and software. Each character is represented by a number. Therefore, setting its value, in this case to UTF-8, we are telling the browser that the character set to be used to understand each character is the Unicode transformation format. In other words, when we type a character, the computer has a set of rules to translate it in a unique sequence of 0 and 1 that tell the computer that character is the character A or the character B or the character C of your keyboard, so to speak. So after this, we have the XUA compatible meta tag, which is something related to Internet Explorer, and this allows us to tell the browser which version of Internet Explorer our code is compatible with. So if we write Edge, Edge, for example, our code will be compatible with the latest version of Microsoft Explorer that is called Edge, and it won't be compatible, for example, with the Internet Explorer 11 or 10 or 9 and so on. So there are differences with emulate and without emulate and so on that you can read on the internet, but this is the bottom line. So after that we have the meta name viewport, the viewport, basically the viewport tag. A viewport, basically it's the user visible area of a web page. The meta viewport element gives the browser instruction on how to control the page dimensions and scaling, whereas the with device width, this portion, this part, sets the width of the page to follow the screen width of the device, which will vary depending on the device. So basically, this allows to scale properly. All these tags that you can read in this slide allow to scale properly the content of your website, of the website that you are coding, according to the different devices. Then we have these tags, which are basically used to to let the content of your website to be scraped by the search engines, for example, but also by the engines of Facebook and for the scrapers of Facebook and so on. So these are basically some information about the data contained in your website, and you can also avoid to write this, but they say that Google's algorithm doesn't take into account this information anymore. Anyways, as a good practice, it's better to write this information, because anyways Google is not the only participant to the market space, so it's a good practice to write them anyways, so that you will be sure that the search engine will scrape the code in the best possible way. Then we have the title tag, which is basically the title visible on top of your browser title bar, as well as when you run a search on Google. So for this third video, we saw which are the most important tags. I repeat, there are many other tags that you can see. We have, for example, the div tag, which is what was used before HTML5, usually in order to divide the content of the website inside the body tags. So instead of having a section, a side, and so on, we usually had a list of div tags. And by the way, some software engineers, in order to save time, they keep on using just div tags, for example, and they don't care about the new semantics, this kind of philosophy. They don't care about this kind of philosophy that wants to have more meaningful code. They just take care about the amount of time they need to write the code. Quindi the faster they are, the better it is for their kind of approach to writing code. So this is it for today, and I will make a new video. So now we from the next video we will enter into some more complex topics, so to speak, and we will start with CSS, then SCSS, and then we will dive into Bootstrap and other frameworks, and we will start creating some real websites. I decided to take this more theoretical approach at first, because these are the basic knowledges that we need, and I plan also in the future to make a course on Angular 2 that I've been studying in the past, and I also tried to use some terms, to use some words the same way I will use them in the course that I will make after, as a matter of consistency, so that you won't find differences in the terminology used that I will use later on in the other courses. This is all for today. I wish you a nice day, and see you next week with CSS. Goodbye.